Welcome to this week's episode of Talk News TV with, if you don't recognize me, I am Herman Tiu Laurel. This is, of course, July 19 BC. What is BC? Well, for those who have not seen our last episode, July 12, BC, that means before Kalbo. I am now without my top. Of course, this week is now AD, after deforestation. But we had that episode. For those who forgot or missed the episode, we had our deforestation as a symbol of our support for the coconut farmers, 5 million coconut farming families who are in a continuing protest. So there are continuing deforestations of individual heads all over the country, and I think they have one now this week in Quezon, and this will go on until Mindanao. And that is in protest of the Supreme Court decision awarding 70 billion pesos of Meralco shares, or rather San Miguel shares, coming from the coconut levy to one single individual. That being said, you now understand why you have a new face in front of you. We have conducted several episodes on the issue of the economy and unemployment and the economic crisis. Last week, of course, we talked about the crisis of the coconut farmers, the lack of investments, the lack of capital. And again, we are faced with the same issue day in and day out. Let me just cite some figures about unemployment in the Philippines in relation to the neighbors in ASEAN. Unemployment rate in Thailand is 0.7% as of May 2011. In Vietnam, the unemployment rate is 2.6%. The unemployment rate in Malaysia as of April 2011 is 3%, while in Indonesia, it is 6.8%. In the Philippines, of course, we are facing 7.2% unemployment and around 19.4% underemployment. And underemployment means employment of around a week every month. So around a third of the, or a fourth of the month. Those who have only employment for 5 days in a month or 6 days in a month are underemployed, and that is 19.4%, or 1 out of every 5 working age Filipino. And then you have around 7.5%, another one individual out of 5, less than one individual out of 5 completely unemployed. And so this issue will continue to haunt our people, and that is why we saw it fit to bring to you one employment potential that I think government and the public should be aware of and should help push. They have issues to raise, they have policy questions to raise, and this is, of course, the franchising sector in the country. Franchising is not just service franchising. There are many other kinds of franchising which we will learn about. And featured this week in our episode, is the Association of Filipino Franchisors or Franchising Association Incorporated or Institute Incorporated. AFI for short. I know AFI, so it takes a little while to remember the individual words. And to represent AFI and explain the programs, in fact, they have an exposition coming, and which they will present to the public, is Miss Tess Ngang Tian. It's not a very familiar family name, so a little practice. And former or past president, 2004 and 2005 of the AFI. Miss Tess Ngang Tian is with us, and with her is Miss Teresa D. Laurel, founding president of the AFI. They're both franchisors also. I don't have to mention their companies, but in the course of discussion, maybe you'll get to know them and the services they offer to you. In fact, they're very familiar to many Filipinos. Maybe many in the audience would have tasted or partook of some of their products in the past. But of course, the Franchise Association, Association of Filipino Franchisers Incorporated, now that's the correct name, has 110 members. We'll get to know more about them later. And there are several issues like they, of course, face a growing future. 25% growth is expected for 2011 for this sector, the franchise sector, homegrown franchises. And mark that word, homegrown franchises. Not all franchises are, or significant franchises are foreign franchises. But they also have very important issues to raise. For example, this one. Franchisers group seek the Philippines accession to the Madrid Protocol. It's an international trade protocol, and we'll be interested to know what it is all about. So let me begin with, there are two tests here, Teresa and Tess, they're both tests. We'll begin with the past president, 2004-2005, Ms. Tess Ngancian, to give us a little background of the AFI. What can you tell us about AFI? How long has it been around? Why are you a member? I understand from you, I asked you earlier, how much employment the group represents, and you said 40,000 workers and employees. So can you elaborate on that? That's 40,000 employees of 110 members.
110 members.
And growing.
Growing, yes.
What is the projection? Do you agree with the projection here, 25% growth?
Well, that could be a very conservative percentage, but it could be more because there is a growing tendency for people now to go into franchising, because in franchising, the success rate is higher because there is a franchisor who would be guiding you as you go to your business. We employ about 40,000 in the whole association. Franchising would help really curb unemployment in the country, because as we franchisors expand, there is this ripple effect. For every store that we open, a franchise outlet that we open, we would employ for our size, for example, at least 2 to 3. So if we continue opening franchises, then you multiply that into 3 or 2 every year, or every opening rather. So we don't stop expanding as franchisors, because as long as there's an opportunity and there are people who would like to franchise and who would like to become entrepreneurs like us, the growing population for employment would still continue. So I think the government should see to it that the franchising sector should continue to be a robust industry, because we employ many in the industry. Since if we represent the MSME, we are about 95%
of industry in the country.
And if 95% of industry, then of course proportionately that would also be the employment that we also get. I mean, we provide for. So we have to continue growing as franchisors. So we became members of AFI because we saw a need for an association to also guide us in pursuing our dream to be successful and responsible franchisors. So when I started joining AFI, I was just starting my franchising business, and because of my membership, I'm able and became more confident to grow my franchise. And at the same time, it has contributed also to my PR of the company. So being a member and an officer at that, you get free advertisement, because every time you promote AFI, you also promote the company you represent.
Well, I asked Ms. Tess earlier what are some of the better known brands that are with AFI, and some of the lesser known brands, newer brands. We will mention the newer brands later on.
Yes.
Of course, I was not asked to mention this, but I will, because it's a matter of pride that we have homegrown industries like this that have grown to a significant business. Ms. Tess is proprietor of the Lots of Pizza. You see them in neighborhoods nga, no?
Yes.
It allows a small capitalist to become a business owner, di ba? Well, we can go into that later on. Others like, I'll mention some of the unknowns here. YSA Skincare. So it's even V Cargo Worldwide in cargo service
Cargo,
and so on.
logistics.
And then you have hair cutters. Reyes Hair Cutter is
Reyes.
not small, no? This is big,
No, it's
no?
a big.
It is
They
big.
have a lot of outlets.
You have Retail Academy. I was intrigued by this because it's a training school,
Training school.
which is franchising, you know?
Yes.
And then there's a new coffee, Chico di Cafe. No, I haven't seen this yet, but okay. Let's go to Mrs. Teresa Laurel. This is the second franchise association. There was an older one, Philippine Franchise PFA Association.
Yes.
What's the distinction between the two?
Well, AFI's focus is the homegrown businesses, MSMEs, while the Philippine Franchise Association represents international brands who franchise in the Philippines. Basically, that's the main difference. Of the two.
Any particular concerns for homegrown franchisors that are distinct from international franchisors?
Well, for the homegrown franchisors, we have small capitalization, whereas the royalties stay in the country, whereas the foreign brands, as a matter of procedure for franchising, the royalties are brought out, are remitted to their mother companies abroad.
Which would you say would be a bigger chunk of the franchising industry, homegrown or international, in terms of numbers and in terms of sales volume? Is there? Do we have figures there, Tess?
Maybe for local, it would be in the numbers.
There
But
will
for
be more local
more
franchisors.
local, yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of volume and sales, it would be in the international because they are bigger companies and they have a bigger base
That's
to sustain
And they
and
have
to
much
open up
much-
additional and new. And also, I think I know that some franchisors abroad would require a franchisee here to open a certain number of outlets, a minimum number of outlets in a certain period. So they are bound by that requirement.
And local franchisors franchisors are not limited or encumbered by such conditions.
No.
Yes.
Unless it's a development agreement, let's say for an exclusive franchise, let's say for Cebu, like Tess, I think, has that kind
Master
of
franchise.
master franchise for the province of Cebu. So there's a development agreement between the two parties that you have to open a certain number of outlets.
And but many homegrown franchisors are already also going abroad.
Yes.
Go Talking, for example, is in Abu Dhabi.
Well, we have one in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
And
What about
Morocco.
lots of pizza? Meron pa? Meron pa?
Not yet.
Wala pa?
We're
Any-
preparing for that.
We're preparing for that. But what are some of the homegrown franchisees or franchisors that are in other countries? Of course, Jollibee
Yes.
is outside. Chowking, Max, of
one.
course, also.
Potato Corner.
Is also in
Yeah,
other countries
it's
already.
very strong in the States. And
Uh-huh.
we also have Reyes Hair Cutters already franchising abroad.
So it's not one way like before. One of the earliest foreign franchisors in the country was A&W. That was when I
Yes.
was a teenager. But that didn't fly very well. That didn't fly, di ba? One or two outlets and then it disappeared.
And then came back.
Then came back.
Then it's gone
But-
again.
Yes, but if I try to recall the beginnings or the new beginnings of franchising in the country, it was in the early 80s. That's when Jollibee was starting. Who else was starting?
McDonald
Burger
was
King.
coming in.
McDonald, it was the foreign that was coming in. Kentucky. Kentucky has
yeah.
been there longer.
KFC.
Yeah.
KFC has been there
KFC now,
longer.
yeah.
KFC.
Oh. And so we have 5 minutes to the break. Let's go to your theme. This is the first time I'm mentioning it. Franchising, strengthening Filipino MSMEs. This is the micro, small, and medium enterprises. And as you said, 95% of the industries in the country
Yes.
are MSMEs, and therefore also employment. But before the break, let me ask both of you what your problems are with regards to labor cost, for example. I think this issue of minimum wage becomes a problem for many small franchisors, ano? Because the sizes are not very big. Individual outlets are not very big. Individual operations are not very big. While the big food chains and franchisors can afford higher pay because of their size, no? Any comment on that from anyone?
Well, for the small enterprises, we really have to have a good pricing and costing policy, for example, and we should maximize and make our labor force more efficient to be able to keep our costs at a certain level. Because even if we are in the MSMEs, the problem again here is our selling price. We cannot price our products as higher than market that we serve, no? So it's really a matter of trying to keep your costs trimmed and making sure that you are consistently efficient.
And I'll go to Mrs. Laurel. In terms of service to the public, I think the homegrown franchisors are really doing a service. For example, in the MRT stations, they have those quick meals, which if you had more expensive foreign franchise products, the regular commuters might not be able to afford it. No?
Yes,
is that your experience also?
Yes, of course. Especially now that you really cannot price yourself out of the market, even if all the prices have gone up and even labor costs. But I think in terms of the labor cost, a more difficult problem would be the distortion of the pay, because I think 3 years ago, the taxes, the withholding taxes were removed from the minimum wage earners. So we have a big distortion in terms of labor, the cost that you pay your employees, because the moment that you go beyond the minimum wage, even by 1 peso, yung kaltas sa empleyado would be about 1,000, I think, or 800. So all your employees would just like to
stay in the
minimum wage orders,
or withholdings,
or even lower than the minimum wage earners, because they earn more. The take home is more than.
Or another way of putting it, if they just exceed by 1 peso the minimum wage, their deductions will result in net
income
loss to them
already.
I'd
like to add. I'd like to add to that also that yung distortion, because in the minimum wage orders, there are select groups who are entitled. Like for example, the latest COLA. Only those in the NCR are entitled to this COLA. So, what about those in the provinces? Well, you can say the rent is lower and the prices of commodities may be lower, but I don't think it will be that, because you almost pay the same price even if you're in the provinces.
Pay the same price for the goods or for labor?
For subsistence.
For subsistence.
Yeah, so there's a problem, because yung wage distortion is really something that we have to contend with. But if we correct our salary structure, then that would mean added cost again.
Okay. So your intention in this next franchise show of yours is to project the message of franchising as a means of strengthening the MSMEs. Okay, we'll get back to this discussion after this break, or we still have a few seconds. So before we go to that break, let's get an introduction already to this. How is it going to strengthen the medium and small scale industries?
First of all, we're going to educate them on how to choose a franchise, and then choose a responsible franchisor, and how to start a business and to look for a good business.
Okay, but when we come from our break, we'll discuss this item here. You are also warning of scams that may happen. So stick with us. This is an important part, and maybe for the retirees, for the OFWs, this discussion will be very fruitful for them. Okay, let's take this break. Welcome back to our discussion on franchising and how it can strengthen the MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, medium-scale enterprises. But before we go into the scam warnings. Um, I wanted to read. Well, I wanted to ask some of the new franchises or franchisors that have originated from the provinces. You were mentioning some. Can you repeat them?
Yeah.
Some of these.
We have Sweet Corner from Mindanao.
Sweet
and
Corner.
then,
It's from Mindanao. It's doing well in Mindanao. That's why
yes,
it's moving now
it's
to
moving here.
Metropolis.
Well, actually, you know, Mang Inasal originated from Iloilo.
Iloilo.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
came over. Julie's originated in Cebu.
Cebu. Oo.
And then we have a new one, Botoy's.
Botoy's.
Lechon.
Lechon manok
Originated from Cagayan de Oro.
Cagayan de Oro. So again, this is two-way na from the province
Yes,
to Manila,
coming in.
Manila to the province. So, what about there are different types. For example, you have Big Apple Express Spa. So pati mga spa na franchise na rin. Ano pang ibang unique na that you can recall from your members? Unique of course drugstores, no?
We have
Drugstore
Generica and
members nyo,
Generica.
Generics and Generica.
Generica, both of them.
And
Aquabest is one.
you
Because
water, no?
actually, he pioneered that. For me, I think he pioneered that kind of water business. And actually, he's into three type of business. He has the purifying water,
Yes.
purified water, and then this lavandera.
So siya rin yun,
Siya na din yun. And then, so, when you buy a franchise from them, you can buy 3-in-1.
Okay. Oo. And then yung distributor ng gas.
Yeah, PR Gas
PR
House.
Gas House, Anong infra-franchise doon? The supply, siguro. The
Yeah.
tanks and so
Service.
on,
Yeah.
the safety measures and so on, no?
They provide the
The accounting
Cash,
system and so on. And of course, may haircut. Academies pala, dalawa. Merong SIP Academy. Aside from yung isa, yung Retail Academy. Okay. And Hero Sausages is quite new, no? It's
a new
few years
member.
lang. It's a new member. And it's also new, di ba? Sa market.
yes.
A few years lang. Tulad mo, ilang taon ng Latsa Pizza?
Latsa Pizza, 14 years.
14 years. And
Yeah.
Goto King is
27.
27 years, ano itong jockey? May jockey dito, GTVL o GTVI Manufacturing Industries. One of your members.
Briefs.
Briefs.
The brand.
Paano yung franchise yun?
It's retailing.
Okay. And then there's Fine's Convenience Store. This is a new convenience store.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go naman to the warning you have made here about the scams. Anong pag-iingatan dito sa industry na to?
Well, we have some fly-by-nights. Franchisors who for a small price, usually there are cards who for a small price and with minimum investment are able to sell their franchise. And so these companies have no commissaries, they don't produce their own products, so they can just leave you. An example would be, I think some years ago there was one enterprising franchisor who was marketing his cards by first featuring a would-be franchisee. So you're featured in
some of the
a
newspapers
broadsheet, and of course, it gives you confidence and all. And then he convinces you that okay, you're ready to franchise your business, etc., etc. But then you're not. So there are some people who will buy your franchise, but you realize that you're not really prepared. So after selling a few of your franchise, eventually they all fold up, and you paid a sum for this. Developer is supposed to be.
Okay. Is this why I heard about the proposal from some franchisors that the sector needs to have a regulatory body and some regulatory codes but we don't have that right now. Department of Trade, what do they do in trying to put order into this sector?
Well, actually, there's now a body in the DTI that's supposed to be monitoring. But one of the guidelines really is for you to be a member of a credible franchise association. So basically, that's the Philippine Franchise Association and AFI.
So there are two now, and I interviewed Mr. Kotek on Radio naman, my radio program. They are setting up another one too, no? But the two recognized ones are PFA and AFI.
And AFI,
Okay.
yes.
What about government role in
Yeah.
all these? Aside from what we have mentioned, that they recommend that franchisors should be part of the associations, do prospective franchise applicants know this? Do they have a window in DTI to advise people who are looking for
Well,
this?
actually, DTI has been contacting AFI to join them in road shows in the provinces to educate the people about franchising, responsible franchising, and our association has also been tapped by OFW organizations. In fact, on August 26th to the 29th, we will be in Hong Kong to have a franchise show, basically educating the OFWs how to invest in the right franchise. So actually, it's our members, the MSMEs, that would be very vulnerable in terms of scams, because you're talking about, let's say, a 30,000 to 50,000 investment, and so you have maybe 100 people who are investing 50,000 to 30,000 to 50,000. That's a small amount, and sinong investor, sinong negosyante would go after? You know, you pay your lawyers to sue these illegal scammers. You already have to pay about 20 to 40,000 for acceptance fee, and you invested only 50.
So they just let it go.
Yeah,
They just let it
you
go.
just let it go.
Okay, and aside from we discussed the distinction between the PFA and the AFI, and the AFI looking forward to more homegrown franchising. Does the DTI or the government have any role in either of these? In foreign franchises, for example, are there regulations and so on?
Madrid, not so much.
Is
In terms of regulation, let's say they regulate the amount of royalties that you're supposed to remit abroad. There is none.
okay.
So
In this franchising show that you are launching, when is this going to be?
July
July
21 to the 24th.
this
So,
Thursday.
This
Thursday
Thursday.
already,
And
coming
this is
Thursday.
all going to, can you focus on the poster they have down here, no? What are the details that you want the public to know about this? Is there still time for people to apply if they want to showcase their companies there?
As
We
of
have a week to go.
now, we have
It's in
already completed exhibitors. All booths are taken as of this time.
So fully booked, huh?
fully booked already.
Okay. But the main interest in this discussion of ours is to inform the people that they can visit it
They can
and
visit,
inquire and check out if there are prospects for them. What do you advise? Do prospective franchisors also have to be happy with the kind of franchise they will be getting into?
Yes, of
Can
course.
can a professor of physics, for example, suddenly want to do pizza?
Pwede.
Kung magre-retire na siya, limbawa. Oh.
Well, we're always around to guide them
Oo.
on how to operate the business.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For example, some of your franchises, anong background?
Well, we have varied background. In fact, the pioneer, the number one franchisee that we had was retiree.
Uh-huh.
So, corporate world knew nothing about business, but when we applied, we gave him the condition that if the business does not do well in the first 3 months, then we're willing to buy him back. But he has now 5 outlets,
okay.
so he was successful.
Well, not all franchisees are successful. Di ba?
But we cannot guarantee, of
You
course.
cannot. Business is business.
Yes.
Pero ano ang ratio niyan ng success and failure? Kung franchisee siya, compared to just starting one's own business? Are there statistics on this? Are there studies?
Well, the success rate for the business, if you're a franchise, is about 90%. I mean, all that. If you choose a good franchisor, then your franchisor should have had the track record of having operated her own business, and so all the problems should have been
Foreseen
considered.
already, no?
Yes, so that's one guideline that you should have, and maybe the ratio between the company-owned and franchise outlets of a franchisor is another consideration, because there are some scammers who franchise their business without even owning a single company-owned store. So.
Okay.
In my case, I also would like to add that I have one son who is with us in the business. He's in charge of marketing. I made him operate an outlet. We treat him as a franchisee, so that we'll know how it feels to be a franchisee, and whatever problems or projects that you might want to go into, he uses his outlet to test and mark and check if it will be viable. It's like a testing ground.
I notice soap for less. What does this do? It's market soaps.
Yes.
Okay. And then so
We have I think 280 companies exhibiting 280.
So more than the members that you have.
More than the
How
members.
come?
Oh yes, we have.
How
we
come? I mean,
business is business.
We
So
have
they
to
want
fill up the halls.
and they obviously joined because they found the AFI exhibition productive.
Yeah.
In the past, well, we have some visuals from the 2010 and 2009 shows of yours. You have seminars there?
Yeah, we'll have
Yes,
seminars.
we have an OFW day,
Okay.
which is July 23.
And Go Negosyo Day also.
What day is that?
Go Negosyo will be on the second day, 22nd.
How many days is all this?
4.
Let's go on, keep on rolling the other visuals. And so this was the hall. This was how the hall looked. That's part of the meeting or seminar.
Yeah, in the stage.
Okay. That's the 9th. So that was last year. Where did you have it last year?
World Trade
World
Center
Trade
also.
Center.
And this year it's going to be World Trade
Same
Center
place,
also.
yes.
So that this year is earlier. It's July. Last year was September.
Yes.
Aren't you afraid of the rains?
Well,
No,
we're
what-
hopeful. And so far there's no projection of weather disturbance coming this week. So
Okay, you have the Philippine Franchise Awardee. Who are the awardees? Last year you had
Last
awardees.
yeah, this is
Awardees
given,
for what? For their success? For their
if we're talking about Entrepreneur Magazine's franchise awards, then we have 5 sectors there. We have the best international franchise, best in franchising support, most promising franchise, best local homegrown franchise, and fastest growing franchise.
last year, which was the fastest growing franchise?
We had several winners. So Latza Pizza was one of the winners. We got 4 out of the 5. So all local franchise awards. We got it again this year.
Okay.
So we'll have the awards night tomorrow. And we
Okay.
have 13 AFI members who are franchise awardees. We actually got the majority of the awards. The AFI group.
The AFI group.
The AFI group, yes.
Okay. So it's a very dynamic group. What's this Cosmotech Philippines? Are you familiar with this?
Provides more on IT systems.
Information technology. So ang dami yung members, you don't know all of them. You're not that
The
familiar.
membership committee.
What about Blue Blade? What's this?
It's the same. It does systems, accounting, financial systems.
So software
Solutions,
solutions,
business
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 solutions, okay. And the name is wholesome ba to or
Wholesome.
wholesome. So that must be. What is it about?
Is that coffee, food business? It's a food business.
Okay, Minute Burger, of course, is one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Marami na yan, no?
Marami
Matagal na
na
rin
siya.
yan,
The
no?
sponsors.
Also a sponsor of the show.
It's a sponsor. Let's flash the sponsors down there sa ating sa ating poster. Who are the sponsors of this show again? Okay, we're just adjusting the camera. While they're adjusting, then there's this My Own Meat Shop. So parang ano yan, selling
Selling meat,
meat,
distributing, distribution.
And what about PT commercial? There, sa baba pa siguro yung mga sponsors. Kaya pa bang umabot? Okay, Aquabest is among the sponsors, Mang Inasal,
IPO,
IPO, City, of course, Sea Oil,
BPI,
so there are
of course the
Yeah.
BPI.
By the way, BPI is a co-presenter, BPI Family Bank.
Yeah, I read somewhere that BPI has special franchising loans.
Loan, yes, for franchisees.
Only BPI? What about
Oh,
other
well, we
banks?
have many banks. We have UCPB, then PNB, Banco de Oro,
DBP.
Planters Bank,
But
Planters Bank.
BBP.
Planters Bank
Planters
pioneered, I think.
Well, for the other sector in government, we have the DOST providing also assistance to entrepreneurs, businessmen. Like, for in my case, I think also Tix here, we were able to get a loan for a purpose to buy a machine that we're using now in the rounding of our dough.
Okay.
And actually, they were the ones who recommended because they came over to our commissary and made an evaluation and a manufacturing process. And after that, they gave us recommendations on how to further improve efficiency in our commissary.
Yeah. I read here that your 110 members operate 6,600 stores. That's really a lot of employment for a lot of people. Per store, if you have 2, 3, that's already
18,000. About 20,000.
tens of thousands. No? And dito sa financing, for example, from the banks, do franchisees and franchisors working together get any special rates, interest rates, or and if they don't have, do you recommend? Can you argue and make the case for special treatment of your sector?
Well, it depends on what kind of loan you will be taking. If it's a clean loan, of course, the rates are higher, 12%, 14%. And if it's if it's a loan with collateral, then it will be range about 8 to 9. The good thing here is they're open to clean loans.
For franchisees,
But although the interest rates will be higher.
But you have a daily balance to maintain.
Yeah, I asked that so that ordinary working class people may consider maybe the wife at home can start a franchise with the help of banks and collaboration with the Franchisers Association.
I know Family Bank offers a minimum of 500,000 peso loan for franchisees.
So that's sufficient for a franchisee already?
Yeah, we have franchises in as low as 250 to 300,000.
Actually, we pioneered this loan, the association, because some years ago we dealt with the SB Group.
SB.
What is SB Group?
Small Business Guarantee Group. And the idea was for the SB to give the loan, and the franchisor is the guarantor. But there's no collateral, and the rates were kind of reasonable, lower rates. So after that, the banks picked it up, and of course the banks, it's their business, so iba din yung rates nila and the requirements. But it's good news that they're more open now.
The impression I have is that the public does not sufficiently know the opportunities in franchising. You are there, it has been growing, but I think public awareness should be further promoted. And it's good we have this opportunity. You have your franchise show.
Yes.
There are 2 associations, and a new one may be coming up. Are there efforts at integrating your campaigns to make the public more aware and more involved in these opportunities? Well,
we've always been working with the other association, which is the Philippine Franchise Association. There's no problem about that. We're both trying to assist and protect the Filipino businessman. So in some issues, maybe we may differ, but there's always synergy. Like the Madrid Protocol, I think.
Yes, we have to mention that before we end. Yeah.
Yes, I think we will have the synergy that we should have between the two associations.
We have the last 2 minutes. What is the Madrid Protocol that is so important to your association?
Well, it's basically a system for registering your internationally your trademark. So we should be supporting that because this will really help the small businessman. In the Madrid Protocol, you're supposed to, if you're a signatory to the Madrid Protocol, if you register in the Philippines, then you're registered to the other 85 countries.
Okay.
And so you save a lot in terms of fees.
Yes.
And also in terms of translation of your whatever franchise agreement that you have, or not the franchise agreement, but the IPO.
So basically, it protects the Filipino franchisors and helps them get registered at a minimum cost because government represents the sector.
Yes.
In this trademark registration.
There are other advantages to being a signatory to the protocol.
Okay. We have our last minute, 30 seconds each. Tess and then Tess.
Thanks. So, we'd like to invite you to our show, the AFI show, which will be on July 21 to 24, World Trade Center. If you want to check our website, it's www.afi.com.ph. If for inquiries, you can call 506-8883.
Okay, and Tix?
Well, we want to invite you. We'd like to invite you to come to our show, this is on Thursday already, July 21 to the 24th. It will be a great show. The AFI franchise show is the first and longest running franchise show in the country. And there will be ideas, there will be exchange of technology, we hope, and new opportunities for everyone.
Okay, with that, the TNT, Herman T. Laurel edition, the AD version, after deforestation, has brought you a very light discussion, but very heavy in opportunities. And we hope you go and visit and learn more about what you may find to be very productive for your future and the nation's future. With that, have a good week, and thank you.